Mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani cross wanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Glenora Shipura and Ashwin Bedi. Now, this is the news just in. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and his foreign minister were killed in a helicopter crash in mountainous terrain and icy weather, an Iranian official said this morning after search teams located the wreckage in East Azerbaijan province. President Raisi, the foreign minister, and all the passengers in the helicopter were killed in the crash. The senior Iranian official told Reuters, asking not to be named because of the sensitivity of the matter. Iran's main news agency confirmed the deaths, reporting that all passengers of the helicopter carrying the Iranian president and foreign minister were martyred. An Iranian official earlier told Reuters the helicopter carrying Raisi and foreign minister Hossein Amirabdoglian was completely burned in the crash.
In today's broadcast, what you can expect on Africa Good Morning, Tunisia says 23 people missing in Mediterranean Sea. Democratic Republic of Congo Army says it stopped attempted coup, and mass wedding plans for Nigerian orphans spark outrage. We'll also speaking to talent Gore, who will be filling us in on the latest news in Zimbabwe, along with Ari Hohat, who will be filling us in on the latest in sports news. We'll be right back with your top stories.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Getting into our top stories, officials in Tunisia say around 23 people have gone missing after setting off in a boat towards Europe. The National Guard said it had informed the Navy and search rescue operations were underway. According to AFP, they set sail between 3 and 4 May, and families of the missing individuals notified the authorities 10 days later. The National Guard said 5 people had been arrested for their alleged involvement in the crossing, the news agency reported. Tunisia is a key departure point for migrants hoping to reach Europe. UN figures show that at least 12,000 migrants who landed on Italy's shores last year left from Tunisia.
In our next story, the Democratic Republic of Congo's armed forces repelled an attempted coup d'etat involving Congolese and foreign fighters on Sunday morning. A DRC army spokesperson said in a televised address, an attempted coup d'etat has been put down by the defense and security forces. The attempt involved foreigners and Congolese. These foreigners and Congolese have been put out of action, including their leader. Spokesman Sylvain Ekenge said the spokesperson did not specify whether this meant they had been detained or killed. Earlier, 2 guards and an assailant were killed in an attack on the nearby home of Vital Kamerhe, a member of parliament who is expected to be named speaker. Kamerhe's spokesperson and the Japanese embassy said in a post on X. The United States Embassy issued a security alert on Sunday, warning of ongoing activity by DRC security elements and reports of gunfire in the area.
Now, a planned mass wedding of 100 Nigerian orphans has been cancelled following widespread public concerns about the welfare of those involved. The wedding, set for the end of this month, was sponsored by Abdul Malik Sakinaji, who is the Speaker of the National Assembly in the largely Muslim northwestern state of Niger. It involved orphans who had lost family members during attacks by armed gangs. Now, critics have expressed concern with regards to what is going on in that situation.
Getting into our next story, officials in the South African city of Gore halted the search for survivors and more bodies on Friday at the site of a collapsed building where 33 people died. Rescue personnel and volunteers have been combing through the rubble for 11 days after the 5-story residential building under construction in the city east of Cape Town crumbled, leaving a cloud of dust in its wake. The Western Cape government said it now believed 62 people were at the site at the time of the disaster. 29 people survived after being rescued. At one stage, municipal officials believed 81 people were on site when the building came down. The site is empty. We have done our job. Enten Bredel, a Western Cape provincial official, told reporters. It is believed that migrants from neighboring Malawi and Zimbabwe were working at the construction site as well as other South Africans. A spokesperson for Malawi's Foreign Affairs Ministry said 9 Malawians were confirmed to have died in the incident and 11 had been rescued, 2 of whom were still in hospital.
Now, South Africa urged the UN's top court to order and halt to Israel's offensive on Rafah, saying attacks on the southern Gaza city must be stopped to ensure the survival of the Palestinian people. South Africa's ambassador to the Netherlands, Vusimuzi Madonsela, asked judges to order Israel to immediately, totally and unconditionally withdraw the Israeli army from the entirety of the Gaza Strip. The 2 days of hearings at the International Court of Justice, also known as the World Court, are part of a case brought by South Africa accusing Israel of genocide. Israel, which has denounced South Africa's claim that it is violating the 1949 Genocide Convention as baseless, responded on Friday. Now, last week, South Africa asked for additional emergency measures to protect Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinians have been sheltering. South Africa also asked the court to order Israel to allow unimpeded access to Gaza for UN officials, organizations providing humanitarian aid, journalists, and investigators. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. After the break, we're going to be talking to Talent Gore about the latest stories stemming from Zimbabwe.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Now, expired and underweight goods are currently flooding the Zimbabwean market. Talent Gore is supposed to be here to talk to us about that story and more, but it seems like she's having connectivity issues. And let's talk about some of her other headlines as well. Zimbabwe's top migrants list, which is not surprising to hear. It's been an issue since the economy started going down, and more jobs are coming, according to President Emmerson Mnangagwa. I believe Talent Gore is now with us. Talent, how are you?
Good morning, Ashwin and Africa. Good morning.
Good morning. So, as I said, expired and underweight goods are currently flooding the market. Tell us more.
Yes, over 1,000 businesses have been charged with selling expired and underweight goods, among other various offences, the Industry and Commerce Minister has said. According to the ministry, most of the semi-formal shops were fined for various offences that fall under the Consumer Protection Act. Apparently, over the past few years in Zimbabwe, we have seen the emergence of semi-formal shops which have flooded the markets. People are shunning these big supermarkets, and they are now preferring the semi-formal shops, which are like tuck shops, because they are a bit cheaper, and also their rate in terms of using the USD is quite low. So you find out that people are now preferring those other than the supermarkets, which they claim, or which they say that they are now quite expensive. So you find out that at those semi-formal shops, there has been numerous concerns when it comes to the quality of the products that are found there. You also find out that most of the things that are found there, they are substandard and they are expired, and you also find things that are fake. There has been numerous blasts that have been taking place, whereby you find a Sunlight dishwashing soap, which is actually fake, or even Domestos, which is fake. So right now, people are in quite a conundrum, and the ministry has arrested or has fined so many people who are selling expired and fake products.
Well, Talent, now getting into your next story, in some concerning news, I would say Zimbabweans' top migrants list.
Well, this is not the first time that Zimbabweans, or rather Zimbabwe, has topped the migration list. According to the International Organization for Migration, Zimbabwe has been rated as the largest source of migrants residing in Southern Africa. The IOM Chief of Mission, Abe Stan, in a speech said that Zimbabwe was recording a high levels of migration in Southern Africa. According to the World Report 2020, Zimbabwe is the largest source of migrants residing in Southern Africa. Furthermore, in search of economic gains, Zimbabweans are migrating to other regions like the Middle East, where the Zimbabwean government has intervened to ensure that its people are able to return home after falling victims to human trafficking. Estimates say that over 3 million documented and undocumented Zimbabweans are residing in South Africa, a destination of choice for many African migrants fleeing poverty, war, and famine in their countries. And other Zimbabweans have sought economic refuge status in the United Kingdom. So we find out that most Zimbabweans who are living, they either go to South Africa, which is actually their preferred choice since it is closer to home, and you also find many undocumented Zimbabweans in South Africa, and some right now they have been going to the United Kingdom for different jobs, especially some are going into care work there. So those are some of the countries that Zimbabweans are preferring to migrate to.
All right. You still with us, Talent? All right, let's get into your last story. According to the President, Emmerson Mnangagwa, more jobs are coming.
Yes, President Emmerson Mnangagwa said that more jobs are coming for Zimbabweans. He said that policies that create a conducive environment for employment creation in the formal and informal sectors will continue to be vigorously implemented under the Second Republic to deliver more jobs to the people. He was saying this in Bulawayo, where he was commissioning a new bakery store, Bakers Inn, which was one of Zimbabwe's biggest baker. He was commissioning another plant in Bulawayo, and this is where President Emmerson Mnangagwa said that there were more policies coming to ensure that Zimbabweans are employed, whether formal or informal. He also said that businesses should take advantage of the various incentives offered by the government to enhance and ensure production. So we're just going to be monitoring to see how many people are going to be creating jobs. The president also said that there are quite a number of foreign investors who are coming into the country. So that is a source of employment once they have established their businesses into the country. So he said that the employment rate is going to rise.
It's expected for him to say that. We'll see how that goes. As you said, Zimbabwe is currently experiencing a brain drain, which means that a lot of professionals are leaving the country to work in other countries. And I think professionals generally have a way of seeing how the situation works out for them. And to them, it seems like they don't believe that there'll be new jobs coming. And to the president, it seems like he's making promises in the highest inflation rate in the world. So again, we'll see how all of that transpires. But however, we thank you, Talent, for bringing us the news stories as they are from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's take a look at the weather predictions before we return with economic news.
In economic news, electricity exported by Mozambique to neighboring countries grew 9% year-on-year in 2023 to a new maximum, according to the report and accounts of state-owned Electricidade de Mozambique, which underlines the country's asserting itself as a regional hub. According to the National Power Utilities report and accounts, electricity exports grew in 1 year from 1,730 gigawatt hours to 1,891, an amount representing more than 30% of the country's total production. Our performance in the Southern African region is quite encouraging, says the chairman of the board of directors, Marcelino Gildo Alberto, in a message in EDM's 2023 report and accounts.
Ghana's parliament, which had been adjourned since March following a dispute between the speaker and the president over an anti-LGBT bill, reconvened on Friday and approved ministerial appointees and a World Bank loan. Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo Markin said in a statement that the urgent recall was in good faith to enable government to discharge its constitutional and democratic obligations to the people. Lawmakers in February unanimously passed one of Africa's most restrictive anti-LGBT bills, but President Nana Akufo-Addo has not yet signed it into law. His office said it would wait for the outcome of two legal challenges to the bill before it passes to the president for assent. The delay sparked a backlash from supporters of the bill and has hobbled parliamentary procedures in Ghana, including the approval of ministerial nominations following a government reshuffle in February.
All right, those have been our economic news stories on Africa. Good morning. Let's head over to the indicators just before Ari joins us with the sport. All right, so it was a football day full of hope. The championship came right to the wire. 4 times in a row, Manchester City has done it. You have to respect them for it. Arsenal were the contenders last year and this year. Last year losing by 5 points, this year falling short by 2 points. So you can see a positive trajectory there. Liverpool said goodbye to Jurgen Klopp. In fact, there were more people at Jurgen Klopp's farewell than at Manchester City's trophy lifting, which just goes to show how much texture people feel Klopp brought to the league. But here's Ari Hochard to give us those stories and more.
Yes, thanks, Ashwin. Brilliant intro. Yes, indeed. It was Jurgen Klopp leaving the club. Never walk alone, he will. But all the focus on Manchester City, like you say, we must tip our hats to them. They beat West Ham by 3-1. And that means that they win the Premier League for the 4th consecutive year. Actually, it's 6 out of 7. The last 7 seasons, they won the title 6 times. So it's quite an achievement. Just to put it into context, winning it 4 times in a row, the only club ever to do that since 1889 in 136 years of Premier League football. So that is some achievement. Congratulations to them. Like you said, what happened yesterday also was Arsenal beating Everton by 2-1, and they had a brilliant season. 89 points, 91 points for Manchester City, so very close in the end. Liverpool beat Wolverhampton 2-0 for a send-off for Jurgen Klopp. And then other results, it was Crystal Palace beating Aston Villa by 5-0. Maybe watch out for them next year. And also it is Manchester United winning 2-0 at Brighton. But not good news for Manchester United. They ended up 8th on the table, tied to Newcastle. Newcastle had also won yesterday. That means there's only the top 7 that go into Europe at the moment. They've got one more chance this coming weekend when they play the FA Cup final against Manchester City. So they have an uphill battle. But if they win that, they're into European football next season. If they lose that, they're out of European football. Not a good season for Manchester United. 3rd last year. And European football now 8th and struggling to get into Europe. And but let's move on to other sports as well. It was Formula One. Well, first let's go to the boxing. It was a big boxing match. It was for the unification of the heavyweight title. 2 big men fighting there. Tyson Fury on the right, Alexander Usyk there on the left. The winner, the smaller guy, Alexander Usyk, he won a split decision. It was a very exciting 12 rounds of boxing. He unifies all the heavyweight titles. So it was a great achievement by Alexander Usyk. 37 years old. He is now undefeated, 22 fights, unified also the cruiserweight division earlier. So great achievement by him. The first loss for Tyson Fury in 16 years of fighting. So well done to Alexander Usyk there. On to golf news, and it was the PGA that was played. The US PGA played at Valhalla. There's the trophy as well. It was very low scores, record scores, 21 under par, won it in the end. The winner, Xander Schauffele, that was earlier this morning, and that is Xander Schauffele playing out of the bunker there. He's the winner of the 2024 PGA Championship at Valhalla. He closed with the 65, that is 6 under par, beating Bryson DeChambeau just by 1 shot. He was very close. He was charging in the end, 20 under par. Victor Hovland there on the right. He was 18 under par. Victor Hovland, he finished in the 2nd or the 3rd position. So well done to him as well. Tied for 12th, lower down, was Dean Burmeister. Very good performance by him. He's from South Africa, born in Montero there in Zimbabwe. So a proud Southern African golf player doing well at the PGA. And let's close off with the Formula One. It was exciting. Emilio Romagno Grand Prix at Imola. Used to be Italian Grand Prix. Those are the cars racing there. Winner, Max Verstappen, but it was close. He won again. He didn't win the previous one in Miami. Max Verstappen winning, but just 0.7 seconds behind him, Lando Norris in his McLaren. That's on the right. He's Max Verstappen. He's talking there to the person or the driver that was 3rd. That is Charles Leclerc of Ferrari. But look out for McLaren. Lando Norris was 2nd again today or yesterday. He won the previous one in Miami and was 2nd in China just before that. So McLaren challenging Red Bull. So it's good to see for the season that there's a big competition there. So that's the international sports news. Hope it's a great sport day for everyone and the sport week. And well done again to Manchester City on winning the English Premier League. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you very much, Ari Hohat, for bringing us the news stories from the sporting world. We take a break and we come back with your headlines.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion.
All right, so let's quickly get into the highlights from this morning's broadcast. Tunisia says 23 people missing in Mediterranean Sea. Mozambique 2023 power exports grew 9% to more than 30% of total production.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
And me, Ashwin Berry. Suraja Kanaka.